Good evening, everybody. This is Danny Thompson with Beyond the Buzzer, and this is the Monday edition of the show for January 11th, 2021. We're checking in live with you tonight here on Zingo TV, I-95 Sports, Facebook Live, YouTube, and everywhere you hear the sound of my voice. And it is a beautiful Monday night. Once I say it's a beautiful Monday night. And for the next hour, I can't do it without my tag team partner, my co-host, the man rocking the shades tonight, straight from the 80s Miami Vice, because obviously he knows his stuff. My main man, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash. How you doing, my friend?
On Danny Thompson, listen, I had to go shades. I had to do something making me cool here so I don't lose my cool and get angry about how much Spectrum's screwing my internet right now. Thus, the little bit different shape and format of my appearance tonight. But as you wisely pointed out, Spectrum's doing to me what the Steelers defense did to them. So I think that's a good way to get things going and make this all sports related in the long run.
Listen, I'm not going there just yet. Never mind. Yes, I am. For the next hour, Kyle. The next hour, Kyle is going to talk all things sports from a great perspective of us. And then we also want the people to chime in as well, too. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, drop it in there. Drop it in the chat. As you see my main man, Cortland Griffin, in there. With the, you know what? It's a new wrestling tag team nickname, Kyle. Big Papa Nash and Danny the Destroyer are the best tag team in sports.
Hey, I love it when he calls me Big Papa. What's up?
Yes, exactly. Because obviously that's what Lamar Jackson said to the Titans yesterday. All right, as I was saying, check out our friends at Valor at valor.us for all things music, marketing, gifts, everything you want for your marketing needs. They'll take care of it. And also Mentality Barbershop at 2611 North Pine Hills Road in Orlando, Florida. Check out the best barbershop in Central Florida. Check out my main man Corey, Dio, the entire crew over there. Tell them we sent you. All right, Kyle. It's been yes, Cortland. Shots are fired. I am firing all over the place like Baker Mayfield did to the Pittsburgh Steelers last night. All right, so let's talk about the Cleveland Browns.
There's a reason why they call that machine gun the Thompson there, Cortland. It may not always be accurate, but it's gonna be rapid fire.
Listen, normally we start with NBA talk. Oh, Bobby, I know you're about to. Normally we start with the NBA, but guess what? We'll change it back up to what we do because it's Monday. It's the weekend after football, and yes, we will talk some national championship in a few moments because Alabama is up on Ohio State 14-7 in the second quarter. Let's talk the NFL. And Kyle, listen, it was the biggest expansion in playoffs that we've ever had. All right, we had 6 games in 3 days, scrounged over 7,000 networks because obviously everybody wanted a piece of the pie. We had everything this weekend, Kyle, from Pittsburgh basically running out of ketchup, running out of Heinz. I don't know what you want to call it in that first quarter when they got blitzed by the Browns. We had slime in the end zone in New Orleans. We had Lamar Jackson running past and running through the Tennessee Titans with a question about a wide receiver late in the game. We had Tom Brady almost lose to a quarterback who was on the streets earlier in the week.
Well, listen, I think that's less about Tom Brady and more about probably the best performance against that Bucs defense we've seen in a minute. I mean, let's put some perspective on it.
Listen, we saw one team get dominated at home in a playoff game, and then we had what went on in Buffalo. So, Kyle, Let's start with the first game of the day and work our way through. So kicking off the games on Saturday was arguably, I think, one of the best playoff games the entire weekend. The Buffalo Bills and the Indianapolis Colts start everything out in the playoffs. And it seems like, Kyle, every year, the last couple of years, that opening playoff game, it always sets the tone with something good. You go back last year, the Texans and Bills played an outstanding overtime game in Houston when we thought Houston actually had a relevant franchise. So sorry, Deshaun Watson. This year,
free Deshaun.
Yes, free Deshaun. That's all we're saying. But at the same time, you go into what we had on Saturday afternoon. Kyle, it's been 25 years? It was 25 years in the making. And unfortunately, due to COVID, the city of Buffalo could not pack that stadium because of any fan base that deserves to have a home playoff game after what they've gone through. Sorry, Cleveland. It's Buffalo. 25 years without a home playoff game. And you know what? Even though it was about 10,000 fans in Buffalo, it felt like it heard like, or you're watching on your television screen, that the place was sold out. All right. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs put on a show. All right. You know, you talk about MVP candidates, you talk about who are some of the best players in the league. Stephon Diggs has all season has not only proven, Kyle, that he should be mentioned as one of the best wide receivers in the league, because for years everybody thought he was product of playing next to Adam Thielen, playing in that offense. Nothing against the other Buffalo receivers, against Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis, I think John Brown, the rest of those receivers over there. But Stephon Diggs has taken himself to a whole new level and a whole new tax bracket pretty soon. Okay. He's arguably this year one of the three best players in the three best wide receivers in the NFL. And somebody on this show, he's going to rename nameless with sunshades on, had said all season before we had one practice that Stephon Diggs was going to be a difference maker. So Kyle,
in fairness, they did have some outside team activities, I think, at that time.
But I will let you get your flowers, Kyle. Stephon Diggs had 6 catches, 126 yards, another touchdown. Josh Allen was phenomenal once again. Kyle, are the Buffalo Bills for real at this point?
I mean, I've seen many of the talking heads say that they're one of the top 3, right? I mean, let's put it this way: the Chiefs, they're the big deal. No one's surprised by that. People keep tell me about the Packers. I'm too fresh off of what they did last year in the late playoffs to really take them that seriously, but they may be the best that the Packers had to offer. But the Bills are the team that has kind of a setup that can beat the most teams in front of it. They can kind of play from behind if they falter early. They can get up a big lead. I mean, you mentioned 25 years. I can make an argument that this current receiver core is one of the best, if not the, in the past 25 years themselves, since we're talking about the days. So you want me to bring up Andre Reed instead of Rison, and that's fair. But, you know, that generation of receivers, and Jim Kelly's throwing them the football, right? You mentioned, of course, Stephon Diggs. And Cole Beasley's got a big injury, but John Brown's back. Rookie Gabe Davis. Listen, I know I cover UCF, and people are kind of calling me a homer for bringing him up, but he had 2 extremely huge third down catches to keep that ball moving, and that set up the pass. Singletary did a bit of work. But let's not go and do this without giving the Colts a little bit of credit. Listen, Phillip Rivers had a fantastic game in his own right. We expected him to possibly crack and crumble and gunsling and make this an easy win for the Bills. But to his credit, he showed why he has been the best quarterback in Chargers history in his day, you know. But yeah, I didn't say better. I said in competition with. I mean, you know, I would need more time. Perhaps there's an upcoming article possibility for me on the 3pointconversion.com, for which Danny Thompson and our friend Cortland, they're also right. # cheap plug. But they're the bar of the next best receiver core in recent history, right? Like, who besides that group would compete with these guys that you have here? And listen, Josh Allen doing fantastic stuff. I don't necessarily think he's an MVP candidate. I mean, he's not having a fantastic year in his own right. So yeah, based on all that I mentioned, you may not think they're going to win it, but they're certainly the competitor at this point. They're certainly in the conversation. But damn right it's for the win. And you were in there too, Court. I got you. But at the end of the day, if I were to give the prediction right now, AFC Championships where they end. Go ahead, Danny.
Here's a question, Kyle. Into the game. All right.
Yeah.
We all know Phillip Rivers has no arm at this point. All right. Of the playoff quarterbacks, he probably had the worst arm when it comes to a deep ball. They tried it early in the season with Jacoby Brissett trying to throw a Hail Mary. Would you have let Brissett throw that final pass in the game?
I kind of thought they would. In fairness, the ball that was loosed by Rivers wasn't bad. I think it did the job. The defense was probably addressed. Go ahead.
It was 8 yards short.
Yeah, I know it wasn't in the end zone, but in a situation like that with the scrum, it could be carried in. I know the preference is to have it in the paint. I'm not going to complain by it. You know, do you think Brissett would have gotten it there? Maybe. I don't know. I don't sit in that locker room necessarily. In the past, like you said, they've used Brissett. I expected them to use Brissett, but I ain't even mad at them that they didn't. I feel like the effort there was a decent one. And listen, credit to the Bills defense for not letting it happen and let it haunt their entire postseason and off season.
Because I'll tell you this: Josh Allen was about maybe 2 minutes away from being the biggest GOAT. And I don't mean Michael Jordan in the history of Buffalo, because because when he fumbled that ball, and when he got there was a 23-yard loss on, it was a second down for first or second down with the trying to run the clock out. You thought that the Bills were just cursed at that point. Like the Music City Miracles was the same week. You thought the curse was going to hit Buffalo at home, because up until that moment, Buffalo had played phenomenal. You said Gabe Davis, even outside those 2 catches on third down, he had 4 catches for 85 yards. Mm-hmm. The one thing I worry about with the Bills, even with next week at home in the playoffs, or even getting to Kansas City if that's the case, the Bills still struggle to run the football. Devin Singletary didn't do much on the ground. And Josh Allen's your leading rusher. It gives me Lamar Jackson vibes from last year, that they're trying to rely so much on Josh Allen to make plays, not only with his arm, but leading the team in rushing. That's why that's my only vice with the Bills right now. Outside of that, the Bills, like you said earlier, they hit everything on the check mark box when it comes to, can you beat the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think this is more about the fact that this team isn't necessarily built to run the football like that, to make Devin Singletary a workhorse back. I don't necessarily think it's him that's the problem per se. And listen, let's call this offense what it is. They pass to set up the run. I mean, it's kind of what you see there. You're making a point that they may be relying too much on Josh Allen, but what quarterback isn't the most relied upon player on his team in the NFL? Oh, sure, there are examples, Exhibit A being Jimmy Garoppolo last year that got to a Super Bowl, by the way. But, I don't feel like it's a worthy point, but I don't necessarily see teams that are stacked up to stop Buffalo outright, while also having enough on the other side to make it a complete obliteration.
Okay.
Right? Like maybe the Bears, who didn't even belong in the playoffs, could crush what Buffalo does offensively, but they can't score themselves. That kind of thing.
Well, Buffalo advanced 27-24 in the first game on the Saturday. Game number 2 in Seattle. Listen. All right. Seattle started with John Swap. The Rams, the Los Angeles Rams of Los Angeles. Yes, we're going to say it twice. The Los Angeles Rams of Los Angeles started John Swafford at quarterback, and he gets hit with a stinger. Now, when I heard the injury that happened, I thought it looked way worse than what it did on television. Trust me. Had to wheeled this man off old school Madden style. They went and got the cart and just wheeled him off the field. But the most important thing is
somebody else over on the way.
Yeah. Jared Goff comes in already hurt. And I'm thinking to myself, if Jared Goff is hurt, where was the third quarterback in this? Like, you couldn't get a quarterback in time, but listen, it happened in the early part of the game, and when it was all said and done, Cam Akers started the running attack for the Rams. It pushed. And listen, by the time the Seahawks really realized what happened, Russell Wilson threw a pick 6. Cam Akers was doing everything on the ground. It was 20-10 at halftime. And Sean McVay is undefeated, Kyle, 37-0, when he gets that lead at halftime.
I mean, yeah.
Second half.
Listen, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, Kyle. Take it.
And listen, there's plenty to focus on where the Seahawks screwed up. But can we please give the Rams some damn credit? That defense, as much as you want to give me a hard time for mentioning Russell Wilson as the MVP, which he still clearly is, in my opinion, your campaign for Aaron makes a lot of sense. He carried the Rams from the defensive side of the ball for a good portion of the games throughout the year. And this was yet another one. I could make an argument that for a large portion of the first half, the backfield was populated by more Rams than Seahawks ever. And it's not Russ that's the problem, Ty. To your point, play calling. For one, that pick 6 was not on Russell Wilson. The receiver, I forget, I didn't look up his name, number 18. The corner could jump right in and bite the route off, so he could take it to the house. after your boy DK Metcalf, Danny Thompson, is throwing a tantrum on the ground, demanding the football, and Pete Carroll, with horrible coaching, calls a play so everyone in the building literally knows it's coming because there's no one there to muffle the sound of the aforementioned yelling from Metcalf. So that touchdown really kind of started the true collapse at that point. And listen, for as bad a game, air quotes, as Rusty had, he clearly had the play of the game where he dodged 2 or 3 guys and found Metcalf for the touchdown. And I'm pretty sure the reason why Metcalf got open is because it was assumed Rusty would have been caught. Didn't happen, finds him, gets the touchdown. I mean, that's Russell Wilson in a nutshell. And listen, people could argue with me, I don't think he's the MVP. You tell me who did more with less. Who else wins that division with so little help? But, you know, I'm not here to say that there aren't other good choices. Especially with the way certain guys spiked toward the end of the year, Aaron Donald among them. I know you at one point, Danny Thompson, had talked about Aaron Rodgers. I can't rule that out, but he quits to make that my pick personally, but it's not a bad pick. You know, that's kind of where I'm going. And you can claim you have the Rams winning. That's fine. If you're brave enough to bet against Russell Wilson, good for you, Cortland. That'll screw you if you ever take that to Vegas. But
listen, I mean, on this show, I had Russell Wilson and company winning. But here's the thing: you mentioned Aaron Donald being so dominant, but listen, it was more than just Aaron Donald on Saturday afternoon. It was Leonard Floyd.
Oh yeah, that's just
Leonard Floyd. Then you had Fox. You know, they got to Wilson 5 times.
Yep.
One of the things, and Kyle, we've both agree on this. Seattle has done a piss poor job of being able to protect Russell Wilson. I think I think everybody. Well, I'm saying, listen, you can win with the offensive talent around you, but if you don't have the ability to have protection to get those guys to football, it doesn't matter. Seattle had fallen off the face of the earth in the last 6 weeks, even though they won 3 of their last 4 in December. It seems like the last, I'd say, Kyle, 6 or 7 weeks, Tyler Lockett has been basically on a milk carton. It's like he's been the forgotten man.
He did a lot of for the balls that were caught. He did a lot of good work on Saturday. But yeah, overall he's been very quiet. Absolutely.
Kyle, you only had 4 targets on Saturday. Wilson had 27 passes on Saturday, and 4 of them were targeted to him. Okay, Tyler Lockett is a 1,000-yard receiver. I think is a Pro Bowler, and arguably one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Okay, but when you don't pay him attention and you look at the rankings at the end of the season, you're like, well, where the hell Tyler Lockett was all season? And you look at his numbers, he's right there. And in Saturday's case, if you look at the distribution of passes, Wilson had 27 attempts, 11 of them went to DK Metcalf. Okay, when you have Jalen,
wait a minute, I thought there were 11 on the day.
He had 11 targets. Metcalf had 11 targets on Saturday.
Okay, I misunderstood what you said. Keep going.
Yeah, he was targeted 11 times at 27 throws. So for DK Metcalf to be bitching to play about not getting the ball, that's ridiculous. What the issue was, here's the thing. For as good as Russell Wilson is, there were some questionable throws in that game. I mean, listen, you don't complete 11 of 27 that had 16 incompletions and not be some shaky passes here. I'm not saying you're supposed to go perfect, all right? There were some decisions that, Russell made on Saturday, whether it be pressure or not, he still didn't make some of the play calling. At the same time, just
wipe that out, whether it be pressure or not. Again, it's the best defense in the damn league.
What I'm saying is, I'm not putting this all on Russell Wilson. I think he does have.
I'm just making sure the Rams get their credit. No,
he has some fault. He has some fault in this foolishness. There is no way the Rams should have lost at home. Okay, there is no way. The Rams should have won this game on the road. There's no way. The Seahawks. Now, mind you, Jamal Adams should have never ever took that victory cigar and pushed it in the face of somebody in your division. Good one on that one. All right, Cortland saying that DK's getting all the targets. Listen, DK Metcalf is a freak of athlete. All right, we all know this. He's a creative player that you created without having to adjust the attributes. We just put his body type together. Okay, he's a video game football player walking. That's what it is. He's a big, strong wide receiver, and he's getting better by the day. It is what it is. But to his point, is he a feature number 1 receiver? I think he is. But I think in Saturday's case, like you said, not only
made that clear on this show, Danny Thompson.
Here's the thing. Jared Goff who I have blitzed and beat up for a while. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but he knew how to game manage. And Kyle, when you run the ball for 165 yards on the ground, Camp Makers having 130, guess what? As long as you're not making any mistakes, you're going to win football games. I hate to say this, Kyle. Jared Goff out Russell Wilson in that game on Saturday.
That's a very awkward way to put it, but I'll tell you what, you've had far worse premises. Yeah, no, he managed the game better. That could be argued, but by the same token, let's be fair here, Danny Thompson. That management job that Goff was asked to do was far. I don't think that's a struggle to have you agree to.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, but one thing is for sure, Bobby Wagner's a monster. By the way.
Oh yeah. Awesome dude too. I got to talk to him at the Pro Bowl. I think you did too, right?
Yeah, he's a great guy. But man, Kyle, 16 tackles, 11 solo, a sack, a quarterback pressure, tackle for loss. Like, what can this man not do but kicking punts? All right, the late game on Saturday night. Listen, okay, for those who thought the Washington football team would have held in without Alex Smith and made this a game on Saturday night, you should have went to Vegas and put money on this. Washington literally was one series away with Tyler Hinkey from literally sending this game to overtime. This Tyler Hinkey was a third string quarterback with the Carolina Panthers. I think he played the XFL early in the year. Came in with literally just 1 week and completed 26 of 44 for 306 yards. He had a rushing touchdown that'll be made in Washington history for a while because that was a gutsy run. But Kyle, listen, I don't care how good your defense is. You do not give Tom Brady 31 points in any playoff game and expect to win.
No, and that's a fair point by you. And listen, it's not to say that when it came to this performance, I thought with the WFT, I would find myself saying WTF. But I did in a good way you expected them to compete like this with Alex Smith, to your point. And by the way, side note, all the people that were hating on Ron Rivera in the franchise for alleged, air quotes, mistreatment of Dwayne Haskins, perhaps the fact this young man was there and actually trying hard had something to do with it. Hindsight's 20/20, I know, but I think that's worth throwing out there. Another side note, you mentioned Hinkey as a former XFL. We forgot to mention John Wolfer as a former Alliance of American Football player as the quarterback of the Arizona Hotshots. I actually got to see him play. Anyways, the punchline being this. Listen, this is uplifting because with the way that the NFC East is looking horrible, I think Cortland just beat me to it. They're at least currently the favorite for the NFC East, and if they draft well, we'll definitely have them crowned. I don't know why we have a Buffalo there, but okay, yeah, that too. But
he caught the buffer.
Yeah, there you go. But listen, Chase Young.
Oh, that was a giant.
Skeptical of him, but he truly showed me that this whole talk of him being a great player for the next 10 years is something real. That could actually happen if he can stay healthy.
Listen, if Dale Snyder were ever to give the Washington fan base something to cheer about, I think you go all in for Deshaun Watson at this point. You go get Deshaun Watson. You trade what you have to get Deshaun Watson because you already got that defense. All right. And like you said, the NFC East isn't very good. All right. We just literally watched in the last, the last 12 hours. Okay. The Giants are the Giants, and they're still going to be the Giants. The Eagles just fired their head coach in a mutiny situation, who says he didn't want to be pushed around anymore. So we don't know who was calling all the shots in Philadelphia. Was it Jeffrey Lurie? Was it Howie Roseman? Was it Doug Peterson? No one knows who was calling shots. All Doug Peterson said was he was tired of being pushed around. That's all I'm saying. And then you got the Dallas Cowboys hiring Dan Quinn as defensive coordinator. So this is the division you're dealing with. And if you're Ron Rivera, I know Cam Newton's going to be out there because New England's not bringing back Cam Newton. And you've had the success with Cam. No, you trade 2-3 number ones and you go get the 25-year-old Deshaun Watson. And guess what? Go find you got McKissick, you got Gibson. Go find one more running back because you'll find one somewhere. You already got Terry McLaurin. You got Steven Sims Jr. Logan Thomas is getting better by the game. Listen, you get Deshaun Watson behind it. And the offensive line's not so bad in Washington. They're not that bad. Kyle, they could run the division for the next 3 or 4 years. Easy.
You have never heard me criticize the offensive line of the Washington football team, and that's because this year's offensive line is better than so many of them have been in recent years, man. And not to say they're the best, but again, like they have been competitive. And then listen, if the goal is to make the playoffs and win the division, the WFT can do that. The Red Tails have a shot.
All right, let's go through the last 3 games real quickly. Baltimore, Tennessee was the early game on Sunday, Kyle. And listen, Lamar Jackson needed to win more than anybody else. Derrick Henry was trying to prove that, the 2,000 yards of the regular season was the fluke. But guess what? Lamar Jackson outran Derrick Henry in his own stadium. Baltimore takes care of business on the road, and it was a pretty impressive action, 20-13 on the road in the early game Sunday. But Kyle, here's a question: and late in the game, Tennessee has the ball. And there was 2 questionable calls in this game for the Tennessee Titans. Corey Davis, a guy that was like 17 yards away from 1,000 yards, your number 2 wide receiver behind A.J. Brown, was nowhere to be found in that final series. Odd.
Odd is definitely a good word.
Here's even odder. On a play, the interception that Baltimore had at the end of the game wasn't a regular interception, because Ryan Tannehill basically had locked on vision on whoever that receiver was that slipped and fell, because if he would have paid attention, A.J. Brown was one-on-one calling for the football. If you watch the replay, Kyle, it looked like Ryan Tannehill took one step and decided to throw. He knew where he was throwing. The ball wasn't looked off, and it was a terrible throw. Now Baltimore takes advantage, and we won't talk about who we got winning, because we'll wait till Thursday, because the way COVID's been treating sports nowadays, we don't know who's playing yet. So, all right, COVID's winning right now. Okay, COVID's winning on the athletes right now. So, Kyle, any thoughts real quick on Buffalo and on Baltimore and Tennessee?
I want all the damn apology letters to be addressed to Mr. Lamar Jackson for this talk about how he can't win a playoff game in this trash. And I mean no offense to Cortland, although he's been trying to get me to believe more in the Titans than I have been all year, despite the fact that I picked them to win the damn division in August. But here's the thing. With the PI, you mean where the defender initiated the contact? Stop it. Anyways, I don't know if we're talking about the same play there or not. But all that aside, the Lamar Jackson haters took a big blow on that day. I have never understood. Maybe there's some, and I know somebody's going to make a comment about social undertones, this, that, the other thing. But I'm looking at the football, and when he was drafted, where he was at the Ravens, so people think he should have been drafted higher. I don't necessarily have a problem with his draft positioning based on his talent at that point and the way he had performed in big games, and specifically bowl games where he had not done as well. But I liked him going to Baltimore. I liked him replacing Joe Flacco. And when he staged the comeback that fell just short against the Chargers in his first playoff game, I knew he was going to be something. Then he threw for 365 against the Titans last year, and people tried to tell us he couldn't play. Well, he didn't throw 65 on you. He just ran about 4 times as much as your best runner, and what some people want to try to tell me was the MVP. Okay. How'd that go for you?
I mean, Derrick Henry always, when you get 2,000 yards any season, your team makes the playoffs, the MVP award, you get thrown in that conversation. I'm not saying
absolutely. I don't have a problem with being in the conversation. Yeah, let me be clear. No, I don't mean it like that. But yeah, no, I'm not saying Derrick Henry's not a beast. But at the end of the day, the guy with what I would argue is the less complete team, in my opinion, offensively at least. The Titans' defense is the biggest problem. Let's be clear. Let's be honest about that. There's a reason why they got shredded the way they did. But at the end of the day, can we? At the end of the day, please give L-Jack his damn credit and stop with the silliest. No one never has nor never will figure out Lamar Jackson until his body starts to break down.
Speaking of things that were broken down, listen, that 4:45 game was a breakdown. But let me tell you why the New Orleans Saints embarrassing the Chicago Bears on national television was not only the best part of the day. what the best part of the day was the fact of I laughed at this when I saw this, because when you saw the list of games, Kyle, the networks and television, you would have never guessed that Nickelodeon would have had the best broadcast of the whole freaking weekend. All right. Watching that playoff game on Nickelodeon was the most entertaining time I've had in a while. Now, mind you, I caught the game in the fourth quarter, but Kyle, getting in the red zone, and you see they call it the slime zone. You hear Nate Burleson, by the way, who I think is going to be a star no matter what he does. He was doing color commentary for the game, explaining the NFL to children in a way that it was interesting. Also, kind of broke it down like we would talk to our children, Kyle, and with a style and flair to the announcing. And Kyle, anytime that you can hear the F-bomb be dropped on Nickelodeon, even better. All right. All I'm saying is,
I knew you were going to bring this up.
Listen, the slime zone, you had, Courtland's correct. The announcing team, the fact that they integrated all the Nickelodeon shows involved in it. You heard Nate Burleson refer to what the pressure that Mitch Trubisky was going through as guts. He was throwing Legend of the Hidden Temple comments out there. I think he threw Wild and Crazy Kids out there. You saw young Sheldon breaking down penalties and how penalties happen in games. You saw SpongeBob, and when it comes to extra points, I am all for it. That's all I'm saying. Because if Nickelodeon didn't cover this game was trash in general.
You beat me to it. That's the only thing that could make this game entertaining. The Bears don't belong in the damn playoffs in the first place. They lost their first 3 games on every other statistical category other than the score. DeAndre Swift drops a ball in the end zone to keep them alive, and it's the whole reason they're in the damn playoffs. At me all you want, controversy, Raphael. I said it. But
all I know
Nickelodeon was there to save it for us all.
All I'm saying is if Nickelodeon doesn't have the Super Bowl because it is CBS and Viacom, if they do not have the Super Bowl, I am going to boycott it.
Well, no, you just listen. It might be a little soon to put together such a production, but hopefully
you got 3 weeks. You got 4 weeks to put it together. I don't want to hear
That's nothing. That's not much time, dude.
Kyle, you act like this is you act like it's gonna be a whole bunch of media down for the Super Bowl anyway. All right, we already know it's gonna be like literally half the people that's normally down there.
That's kind of my point.
Listen, Kyle, I ain't trying to hear it. If I don't see now, the one part Nickelodeon didn't understand was they let the Nickelodeon children vote for MVP. I'm sorry, the MVP, not MVP. The Nickelodeon valuable player went to Mitchell Trubisky. But listen, as soon as he got the award, he threw the touchdown to Jimmy Graham, who ran off the field. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, that Forrest Gump moment he had was special.
But listen, there was nothing better than watching slime in the end zone. I'm telling you that right now. Because listen, to quote one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows, you can't do this on television. The final game of the night, Pittsburgh fans couldn't do that on television. It took 25 seconds for Steelers fans to realize this was not your night. Yes. The opening play of the Steelers and Browns game, Kyle, saw a football go over the head of Ben Roethlisberger, Kyle, in pure necessary roughness fashion. The ball went over Popkey's head, and the Steelers went down the toilet at that point.
First of all, you know I respect the necessary roughness, John, but we can go to real life. The last time I saw a breakdown like this, at least at the beginning of it, I think it was Super Bowl, I'm going to guess 43 and probably be wrong, but Peyton Manning in the Broncos' first appearance with Peyton Manning there, I should say, with the Seattle Seahawks, that was not their night. Now, in fairness, the Browns kind of went home early and let the Steelers pretend they had a game for a bit. Hi, Precious. But at day's end, yeah, you're right. Boy, what an abject disaster. And I have to be honest. I was surprised by it, but after I analyzed it, the tea leaves were all there. I just didn't really I didn't pay enough attention to them, right? The COVID thing happens. Stefanski's out. And you got a team that runs a lot on emotion. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that's the fact, right? Who runs on emotion like Baker Mayfield? I could argue that him using passion is something that he does more than any other quarterback in the NFL currently.
Kyle.
And then over and above that, the whole missing coach thing. When Chuck, the best coaching thing Chuck Pagano's ever done was miss games and inspire Bruce Arians and company with Andrew Luck to have a heck of a run that year. Okay? So I think Stefanski in this case, on top of being a good coach, having his team prepared up to that point, then having an extra boost for being an inspiration. So we go, hey, let's play for coach. That kind of little intangible stuff matters. It's easy for me to say in hindsight saying the signs were there. I should have seen this coming, but I didn't.
Listen, all I know is like Cortland says, someone hit Ben in the chest. No, what happened was the Pittsburgh Steelers started the year 11-0. They lost 5 of the last 6 games. And they lost to a team, Kyle, that not only beat them the week before, they played the week before. The Browns didn't have a single practice all week. They literally had a walkthrough on Saturday with no head coach.
Yeah.
And they had Zoom meetings all week. The Pittsburgh Steelers were at home. And now it's different to lose, but the way they lost this game last night was embarrassing. They played like that. They were trying to get. They played like Mike Tomlin was trying to get fired. They're trying to get Mike Tomlin fired. It was like a pure mutiny. Ben Roethlisberger throws for what 500 yards, but those 4 interceptions because he couldn't stop throwing the ball to the other team. The Browns feel like that first quarter, Kyle. I said it on Facebook last night. If this was a video game, you're handing over the control at 21-0.
Yep.
Now, Pittsburgh tried to make this a game. They tried to make this a game. They tried. But give Cleveland a lot of credit. When a lot of times you get a team starts getting momentum at home, you start to fall apart. I was thinking, oh, Cleveland's about to blow this one. I was about to say, we weren't going to see
fans.
I was about to say, we weren't going to see L.A. Bros and Eric Urbanowski or Urbanets all week. We thought we was going to lose 2 of our writers all week, okay?
Oh, they said nothing. Some of the morbid stuff they put on Facebook.
They said nothing. Normally, I think they're still trying to wake up from this one. They didn't say nothing. It was like tumbleweeds in our group chat. That's all I'm saying. Give the Browns
fairness, we did see the emergence of the luchador by way of Eric Urbanowitz, so we know he's going to be all right.
Well, I know he's fine, but he didn't say nothing until that thing hit 0. Okay, yeah. He said nothing. Okay, he was writing other articles, watching like bass fishing. Okay, he wasn't touching this game at all. Give him credit. But what you also want to give credit to is listen. The Browns came out and they won for 48. They won for 60 minutes. Okay, Pittsburgh might have had a chance in the game, but really, an offense like Pittsburgh is going to score points again eventually. Give the Browns a lot of credit for staying with the lead and keeping the foot on the gas. Because I worried, Kyle, at one point that when you get up 35-10. Trust me, I know this. You take your foot off the gas and you don't continue to pressure. Even if you're getting 3 and outs or you might get a first down, as long as you're attempting to apply pressure to the other team, it's going to be forced to. But if you're just being nonchalant, it happens that way. So Kyle, the Browns advance. Give the Browns a lot of credit. They just, as much as as I talk about Buffalo deserving a victory, Browns fans deserve this one too. Now, the only difference is your victory is sitting in Kansas City on Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Congratulations!
It's going to be a celebration of touchdowns in Pat Mahomes' house. All right, we're done talking about the NFL. Like I said, we'll give our prediction stuff on Thursday because it's getting closer to the end of the week. So, Kyle, let's transition into actually talk about the NFL coaching carousel. Real quickly, we mentioned the fact that Doug Peterson is out in Philadelphia.
Oh, by the way, side note, alleged rumors that Adam Gase is a candidate for that head coaching job.
He interviewed with the Eagles today. This will be the most 2021 thing if the Eagles hire Adam Gase, the quarterback whisperer, to change Carson Wentz.
Okay.
All right, listen. Mike Kopka's also, I think the quarterback coach is also being rumored to take the job. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. But around the NFL, you see Deshaun Watson upset with the fact of what the Houston's doing when it comes to non-coaching, not interviewing Eric Bieniemy, who, quote unquote, which is weird, Kyle. Yeah, a Houston writer talking about how Eric Bieniemy has not done well in interviews when the team in his city wouldn't even interview him. I would take, no offense, I'll take the word of people who live in Atlanta, cover the Falcons, and cover for NFL.com before I take a Houston writer any day of the week on what goes on, especially in Atlanta.
I hear that. Let me add this aspect to it, though. In fairness, Eric Bieniemy, in my opinion, probably isn't interested in any of these jobs. Can we be honest about something real quick, Danny Thompson? The most appealing job remaining might be the Los Angeles Chargers. And Eric Bieniemy is not going to go to the Los Angeles Chargers just to play against what he built twice a year. It's not going to happen. So
I think it's still Jacksonville. I still think it's Jacksonville.
I don't think who wants that damn job, Danny Thompson. He can hold out for a better job in a future year.
I think it's a great situation. You're going to get a brand new GM. Okay. You have $100 million in cap space and the number 1 overall pick.
Trevor Lawrence is not enough to fix that franchise.
But you give Trevor Lawrence the ability to have DJ Chark, a healthy James Robinson, healthy receivers on that team. Laviska Shenault, you have Tyler Everett being healthy. You get Keelan Cole back. You have weapons on offense. And listen, the defense isn't half bad. It's the fact that the offense was 10 times terrible. Okay? Uncle Rico couldn't hit the mountain. They had to go call Mike Glennon.
I'll say this. If I'm Eric Bieniemy, which I'm not, but if I were, I see the jobs. I remain relatively unimpressed by them. And I look at the fact that there are a number of big and potentially delicious jobs opening up very soon. Perhaps he wants to find himself in a bigger media market. If that's the case, New York and Dallas, one of the two, I think, this time next year, will be open a coaching candidate.
I mean, if you want to go coach in New York, go coach the Jets. But do you really want to walk into that foolishness?
That's my point exactly, brother, man.
So my thing is the Giants aren't much better.
They're not, but they have more. I think they have a better front office historically too.
David Gettleman David Gettleman ain't much different. All right, let's be real here.
And Cortland mentions the Falcons. Danny Thompson, I'll let you take that. I think that's a semi-complicated situation.
I'm all for
mostly because their defense. But go ahead. I know you're all for it from a fan, but can you objectively break that job down, or do I have to?
Well, I think in the Atlanta situation, I think that if you take Eric Bieniemy as the head coach, you're going to have to find Eric Bieniemy will have to have an idea whether you're going to make Matt Ryan your guy and eat the cap space, or you're going to ride this thing out with Matt Ryan for another year or two until that cap number goes down and you basically exponentially spend the entire draft on defense. You do what the Carolina Panthers did last year and you make every pick on defense.
No, sir. It's not what the Carolina Panthers did, my friend, that you're quoting. It is what Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins did.
I mean,
and that's a very interesting theory.
But Kyle, the Panthers did it last year too because every draft pick they had was defense last year.
Yeah, I know, but the Dolphins is actually working.
Listen, but we really can't say if Carolina's working. It's only been 1 year. For me, for draft classes, I always give 3 years. I give 2 to 3 years because like I said, the situations become different. Guys develop in the NFL a little bit different. I say 3 years. I see what you're saying.
The one difference, too, I want to bring up with Carolina is they didn't just sell off a large portion of their franchise in much the same fashion. Like, the Dolphins, I feel like, had at least a strong defense there. The Panthers can't really claim that. Now, in the Panthers' defense, they competed better than you and I thought they would. But I don't know.
I mean,
if you want to quote the Panthers, that's cool. I'll say the Dolphins, but I think the punchline is you created a scenario that's possible, but I don't necessarily think it's palatable.
Listen. I think in Atlanta, here's the thing. If Atlanta doesn't go quarterback at 4, Micah Parsons is on the board at 4. The outside linebacker the linebacker from Penn State. You start there. Or you go pass rush with Kitty Paye. You go with Rousseau from Miami. You go get somebody that's going to be impact defensive player. I think you go linebacker because you already have Deion Jones up the middle, and there's nothing better than having an inside-outside linebacker crew. And then, like I said, you start spending draft picks. You start spending draft picks on defense. Atlanta doesn't really have much cap space, so everything you have to get to replenish this defense has to be through the draft. All right? Yeah. Your offense is going to be built to win anyway. It is what it is. Matt Ryan, even though he's about to be 36 when the season starts, Matt Ryan is still in an upper echelon quarterback in the NFL. All right, he's in the upper half of the league in quarterbacks. It is what it is.
Final question on that, Pond, real quick. Like, do you feel like there's a quarterback here that's worth drafting to sit for 2 years behind Ryan, and Aaron Rodgers? Not that he has to end up being as good as Aaron Rodgers. I don't mean it like that, but as an example of a quarterback who sat behind an established veteran, legendary
I think if you're picking at the end of the first round, you do
type,
it.
You know what I mean?
I think if you're picking at the end of the first round, you take the quarterback to sit. But picking at 4, it's either you're going to start the rebuilding process and take one of the quarterbacks at 4, whether it be Wilson, Fields, Trey Lance, one of those guys. You take one of those guys. It is what it is. If that's what you feel like it is, because your goal is not to be picking at number 4 in 2022. That's the goal. You don't want to be picking there.
Okay.
If you're not going to take a quarterback, you're trying to help Matt Ryan win right now. You're trying to help Matt Ryan.
What does that?
And to Cortland Griffin's point, go get Micah Parsons. He won't be. He'll still be there at 4. The first 3 teams, unless it's a trade, aren't taking Micah Parsons, unless it's Miami, and Miami needs receiver help. Okay, they need to give Tua somebody down the field. We already know
line help more too, in my opinion, but we can have that argument all night.
Okay, I mean, if the kid from Oregon's there at 3, then you might take him at 3, and then shift over the kid they drafted in the first round over to the other side, because you got to have a right tackle to Sui. I think, but he's more of a left tackle though. That's why I had him going to Cincinnati at 5, because actually I have him going to the Jets, the kid from Oregon, because if I do a top 5 now, I have, of course, we all know Trevor's going 1. The Peninsula from Oregon's at 2. 3 is Miami, which I think is Devontae Smith over Jamar Chase, only because the relationship Smith and Tua has. I think the relationship.
So you don't have Fields at 2?
No, because here's the thing.
Okay.
It's either Justin Fields or you go offensive line. It's one or the other. Either you believe in Sam Darnold, who played pretty well down the stretch, or you go get Justin Fields and basically try to find a taker for Sam Darnold. That's it.
Okay. No, I'm not saying that's a bad move. Honestly, you cut out my headphones right there. I just want to make sure I heard you right.
So if you look at 3, Miami you got to get a big play threat for Tua. You have to, unless you go line. If Sui's there from Oregon and they go Fields at 2, you got to go protection at 3, even though it doesn't help the wide receiver.
I ain't gonna argue with that.
That leaves Micah Parsons.
Portland apparently,
but that leaves Micah Parsons sitting right in Atlanta's lap at 4.
So you say. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Speaking of sitting on laps, Saturday afternoon, the Philadelphia 76ers didn't sit in anybody's lap Saturday afternoon. All right, I'm going to speak NBA real quick because now it's time for me to rant at this point in the day. All right, the NBA has canceled 3 games in the last 24 hours due to COVID. All right, COVID is now starting to wreak havoc on the NBA right now. The New Orleans Pelicans game tonight with the Dallas Mavericks was canceled due to COVID. The Boston Celtics game against Miami last night and the game tomorrow night, I think it's against Chicago, have been canceled due to COVID because of contact tracing and players catching COVID. All right. The Mavericks had 4 rotation players, along with 2 other players contract COVID, among with other players in protocol. All right. Then you have everything going on with the Boston Celtics, Kyle, that had 7 players out on Sunday due to COVID, on top of Kemba Walker's injury, on top of Romeo Langford's injury. All right. I get it. All right. You can't play. Wow. Boston can't play. Boston can't play. There's no Jason Tatum. There's no Jaylen Brown. Hell, they would have had to go suit up Larry Bird and Danny Ainge to play this game. I get it. All right. And then we had what went on with the Philadelphia 76ers on Saturday, and this is what the part that just really irritates me. All right. Kyle, the Sixers on Saturday.
Here we come.
The Sixers on Saturday had to play a game against the Denver Nuggets as a mid-afternoon game on Saturday. Without the services, because Seth Curry caught COVID and then had contact tracing, which knocked out 5 Sixers at this point. All right, Kyle, we're down 5 Sixers here. Mike Scott was hurt. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were out due to injury. The NBA, instead of canceling this game, decided to make the Sixers play, and Doc Rivers only had 7 able bodies because Mike Scott had to suit up to be the 8th player, and he wasn't playing. Kyle, the Sixers had 3 centers and 4 point guards playing against the Denver Nuggets and got blown out of the building.
I bet it was
even though in the game that listen, even though Tyrese Maxey, Kyle, had arguably the game of his life as a rookie, 33 points, 7 rebounds, I think 6 assists, and was literally out there firing away. The NBA forced the Philadelphia 76ers to play a game. Now, mind you, they fined the Sixers today $25,000 for not disclosing Ben Simmons' injury. Hell, I don't think the Sixers realized they were even trying to play this game. If we're going to play protocol rules, if we're going to play them, it should be played for everybody. I don't want any modified protocol rules after you just literally watch a team play 7 players. Okay, 8 players is not enough to play a basketball game. I don't care who it is. Go look at the minutes. Those guys in the Sixers, they couldn't even sit. Dwight Howard was almost, I think he almost fouled out in this game. That would have left them with 6 players. Imagine if somebody would have got hurt in this game. We're going back to the Alabama-Minnesota game in college 2 years ago, which got Colin Sexton to be a lottery pick because of the fact of Alabama almost beat Minnesota with 3 damn players. They played the majority of the second half, Kyle, down 5 on 3. Avery Johnson had 3 damn timeouts in 16 minutes of basketball. And Alabama damn near won the game because Colin Sexton was torching double teams and triple teams. Kyle, this was the most amazing thing I've seen. Why are we doing this in the NBA? Why are we doing this? Why are we forcing teams to play 7 games? Today, we go through we had a meeting today with the owners and GMs getting together to try to figure out how to combat COVID. How can we fight COVID? Obviously, players are catching it due to travel restrictions, whatever you want to. We still got 5 teams letting fans in the building. 5.
Yeah.
Because the Tampa Bay Raptors are like, you know what? This COVID thing, Now you got 5 teams allowing fans in the building. The NBA is starting to lose to COVID, Kyle, and this is starting to like Major League Baseball at this point. The only difference is
seriously.
none of these teams were hanging out in Atlanta at a strip club. Florida, Miami, one of Bobby's teams, by the way.
Wow.
Bobby's had a trifecta of foolishness all year anyway. Sorry, Bobby. All I'm saying is this.
A trifecta of foolishness. Oh, gracious.
Here's the problem that the NBA is going into right now. People are saying, hey, I'm not hating.
Too late.
Listen, Juju Smith-Schuster dancing in somebody's logo is hating. Okay,
Juju,
you saw what it got
you
him.
mean more like he needs to STF you anyway.
And yeah, by the way, Notre Dame still lost again, Kyle. By the way, because of Chase Claypool last night talking about the Cleveland Browns losing the next round. A couple hours after they got embarrassed on national television, go sit down somewhere. But back to my rant for a second. Basically, that's what the Mets are going to do to the Yankees this year. Thank you, Mr. Met. But here's the problem I have, Kyle. The NBA, their talks to try and shut the league down for 2 weeks. That's not going to help. Shutting this league down for 2 weeks ain't going to help. All right? Because what's going to happen is these guys are going to go home. And the issue is not with just the players. It could be some of the players, but people's inner circles. Because, Kyle, we live day to day. We're human beings.
Yep.
You know, even though these people have millions of dollars and they say, oh, they got millions of dollars. They're human beings like the rest of us. Okay. They just have larger bank accounts than us, but they walk and talk like we do. They want to get out the house. They want to go to the grocery store. As we know, you can catch COVID going to the grocery store. You can catch COVID going to the gas station. All right. You can catch COVID checking your mailbox in your apartment complex. So it's going to happen.
You definitely catch you trying to have some lemon pepper wings.
Touche. We're not getting another bubble. All right. Let's kill this noise now. There's no bubble. The NBA did not decide to sell themselves away for Christmas Day to be putting some damn bubble. All right. Baby ain't going to no bubble. All right. The only logical idea at this point, Kyle. No, the only logical idea, Kyle, is you better take all these players and their families and shack them up in a hotel until the end of the regular season. And then for the playoffs, Kyle, you go bubble for the playoffs. You shack them up in the hotel, Kyle. You go find a luxury hotel. They already got the best damn internet anyway, and you make them stay at a hotel. That's what you do. That's the only way these players are not. It's the closest thing you get to a bubble. You're not going to do regional pods because the players ain't going for it. But what the players need to go for is they better figure out something quick, because if they start losing games, they start losing checks, which means owners start getting irritated, which means network starts getting irritated, which means guess what? Money, 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 money. Cortland says they should have went to a dedicated schedule, all East, all West. That's not going to work either. It's not going to work. Because if you're doing an all East and all West schedule, there's still traveling involved. There's still traveling involved.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're not going to put these teams in small pods because there's not enough teams in a pod. The only idea is, Kyle, because here's what's going to happen. We already have 6 teams in the NBA with issues with COVID as it is now. The Nets had it. The Wizards have had it. We already saw it happen with other teams around the league. At some point, Kyle, if this continues, because and the other part I have a problem is the damn contact tracing. Kyle, here's the question I have. Okay, Bradley Beal on Saturday was around Jason Tatum, who had COVID with the Celtics. All right. They embraced, shook hands, and Beal was guarding Tatum for like 40-something minutes on Friday night. Bradley Beal was held out of the game on Saturday due to contact tracing. I get it. Why the hell would the rest of his team not in protocol for this? Because I know
question, Danny Thompson.
I know that there are players around Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is not sitting in a George Jetson space podule flying his ass to the next city. Okay, he's not flying by himself.
And neither is his boy Elroy.
Exactly. Nobody's in individual pods flying. Why weren't the rest of the Wizards players tested for this whole situation? They were around him in the plane. I don't understand contact tracing, Kyle. I don't understand contact tracing. Kyle, I'm next to you, but since I'm next to you, I don't have to worry about it. But the rest of my team was around me, and so guess what? None of them get tested. Yes, Bradley Beal's going off, but that's not the damn point. The point is,
I mean,
it takes.
Appreciate you giving him props, but that ain't this. Yeah, exactly.
The point is, if one person has contact tracing on the team, the whole damn team needs to have it. We saw what the Sixers did after Seth Curry caught it. They put every damn body in protocol. All right. Joel Embiid was like, I can't go home to my daughter. She newborn. I don't know if I got COVID. They kept the Sixers in. They kept them basically. I'm gonna say hostage. They kept them in the city they were until they all got tested to go before they went to New York. Before they went home to play Denver, they all were stuck in New York. My whole point is, if you contact trace one, you contact trace every damn body. And Kyle, the way the league's going, it's either A, you expand the rosters, or B, like to your point, you better figure out some kind of way to keep everybody in the damn bubble together. That's it. Because the bubble's not happening. Because guess what? You've given Disney away to the G League this month. Speaking of the G League, Kyle, the G League had the draft today and was not even on television. The G League had a draft. It wasn't on television with guys like Michael Beasley, Lance Stevenson, Mario Chalmers, among other players in the draft, and nobody was able to watch it. By the way, none of those guys were drafted either. That should just tell you something. None of those. It was so bad, Kyle, watching the G League draft. Teams were skipping picks. You had a team picking sixth. Oklahoma City's team, Kyle, with the sixth overall pick was like, you know what? We're good. We're passing the pick. They passed on the. I don't know. Kyle, it's almost time to shop out of here. Any shout outs?
Listen, good times all the way around. Always good meeting up with you on Monday night, talking basketball, football, sports in general, whatever foolishness might come. Shouts to Cortland making it back into the chat tonight. Shouts to anybody else, of course. I think we had Ty in there too, who dropped comments tonight. You definitely make the show better for both me, Danny, and of course for our man doing the artillery so well like he does in support from the producer's spot, my man Bobby Blackjack. Find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Baby Yoda rules. It sucks that the Mandalorian won't be until 2022, but first world problems. And yeah, we'll see you Thursday. Danny Thompson.
Bobby, any shout-outs before you go, sir?
Nah, Bama's winning. I can't shout anybody out right now.
I mean, Bobby.
I'm talking third person here. Bobby's in a bad mood. His team stink this year so far. Let's go Mets.
The hell you say? You will not be cheering the Mets on this damn show. Never. If I had the mute button, I'd mute you right now. All right. Big shout outs to my main man Bobby.
That's spite right there. He's just doing it only to spite your team.
The hell you say? Bobby's fandom then caused the Marlins to have COVID, to have Pittsburgh lay an egg in the playoffs, Notre Dame to be Notre Dame, and no, he will not. He will not. Cortland, you can cheer the Yankees too because they're going straight down as well too.
That's right, baby. We got DJ signing this week. We got Trevor Bauer coming soon. We'll see.
Listen, 2 words: Francisco Lindor. That's all I'm saying. Big shouts to everybody in the chat tonight. Like I said, Cortland, Ty, check out Ty's show. Say what against sports. Ty will always. I'll reshare the show. Outstanding show. Is a great panel show. A bunch of the funniest guys talking sports and everything else in between. And Avery Graves he's a character himself. I mean, he should be straight Cartoon Network. Also, you know what? He should be on the Nickelodeon broadcast. He should be on the Nickelodeon broadcast playing SpongeBob. All right, that's my guy. That's my guy, by the way. Big shouts to Alex Fleming. Check out their show and check out his work over, I think, at Fantasy and Flavors. Check the team out as well, too. And to the lovely Precious, by all ways, by saying hi as well, too, because as Cortland says, it's not a show until Precious says hi. So,
correct.
For myself, Bobby, Kyle, the entire cast of thousands, I'm headed over to Haps Hornets post game because, Kyle, guess what? The Hornets are on a winning streak, and I got to talk about LaMelo
then
Ball.
bring the sting, my man.
Listen, it is Buzz City tonight. A 20-point win over the Knicks. Bobby, stay in New York. All right. See you guys on Wednesday night, Thursday night for Beyond the Buzzer. For myself and Kyle, where we actually will pick NFL winners, and we'll talk about Alabama's national championship. Stay safe. Peace.